Hello, my name is Vincent Ronquillo, and I will be doing my presentation on the 1900 Galveston hurricane, also known as the Great Galveston Hurricane. And here are some pictures of the disaster area. And to the left here, you see homes that are just stacked in rubble from the storm surge. And to the right, you can see men and women searching through the rubble. Here on this next slide is how it started. And on August 27th, 1900, a tropical storm was reported by a ship, and ships were the only way that storms were being reported at this time. And this was also the fourth observed tropical storm during the season, which made it pretty frequent that these hurricanes were happening. It actually remained mostly stagnant as it moved westward over the Caribbean around August 30th, 1900. And on the left here, you can see the path of the hurricane. And it was still a tropical storm. And then it reached Cuba, going over towards Texas and up through the Midwest area. And on the bottom here, you can see a kind of historical map of where it actually hit Texas coast. And a day before landfall, the US Weather Bureau sent out warnings, which actually weren't taken very seriously. And this were from Pensacola, Florida to Galveston, Texas. Communication at this time was actually really slow, and it wasn't very it wasn't very well communicated through the lower parts of the US at this time as well. And on September 3rd, the storm hit Cuba. A few days later, on September 8th, the storm struck Galveston, Texas. And a day later, on September 9th, it was declared back down to a tropical storm. And there was reports of an 8 to 15-foot storm surge, which would have affected upwards of 36,000 people in the area on land that is only just over 8 foot in elevation. Next slide is the effects that it had. These pictures are pretty disturbing. You can see men and women just stuck in between the wood and rubble, and this man seems to be dead in both pictures. And this 3,600 homes were demolished, and the town was just in shambles because winds were upwards of 145 miles per hour. This caused 6,000 to 12,000 fatalities. They're still unsure of the exact amount. And it was deemed the deadliest natural disaster in US history. And it is also the 5th deadliest Atlantic hurricane in history. 10,000 people were left homeless, and they were left to be living in this decrepit town. Bridges and telegraph lines were also demolished in this storm. And people on the mainland did not find out that this happened until approximately 2 days after the storm, because there was no way of communicating that this had just demolished this entire area. And here on the next slide is the aftermath. And you can see that the water is just up to these people's knees on the right, and they're just walking about the town, still wearing their sun hats and dresses. Underneath, these men are carrying what seems to be a woman or child on a stretcher through rubble. And in the aftermath, a 10-mile, 17-foot seawall was planned to be put in place to protect Galveston, Texas. And there was fatalities reported in Illinois and even up as far north as New York, which is just mind-blowing, because if you think about today, fatalities aren't as prevalent, widespread across the US. And damages had exceeded upwards of $34 million in this time period. And here are my sources. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.